We are told that military dominance comes from innovation, that the side with the best technology wins. But there is a pattern emerging in modern defense, a pattern where the most expensive decisions aren't made to gain an advantage, but to avoid the hassle of change. We look at a system that works perfectly, and we decide that perfect is the enemy of familiar.
This is the story of the C-130J Block 8.1 upgrade. On paper, it is a technical triumph, a massive modernization of a critical fleet. But if you look closer, it exposes a strategic failure. It reveals why a major military power is spending millions to upgrade aircraft they're about to retire, only to replace them with the exact same machine. We are going to dissect how risk aversion is costing us more than just money. It's costing us the future. Let's look at the facts. The Royal Australian Air Force, specifically number 37 Squadron at Richmond, has just declared final operational capability, or FOC, for its fleet of 12 C-130J Hercules. This was Project Air 5440. It wasn't a simple maintenance check. It was a comprehensive overhaul of the aircraft's nervous system. The upgrade brings the fleet to Block 8.1 standards. This includes Link 16 tactical data links to connect with the broader network, integrated satellite voice for long-range comms, new flight management systems for civil airspace compliance. The work was split between Lockheed Martin in the US and Airbus Australia Pacific locally. Technically, the project delivered exactly what was promised. To understand the decision, you have to respect the machine. The C-130J Super Hercules is, without debate, the most successful tactical airlifter in history. Australia has operated the J model since 1999. It sits in a critical niche, carrying 20 tons of cargo or 120 passengers, filling the gap between the smaller battlefield transports and the massive strategic heavies like the C-17. The Block 8.1 upgrade makes this airframe genuinely formidable in the information age. With Link 16, a cargo pilot isn't just hauling pallets, they are a node in the network, seeing the same threat picture as an F-35 pilot. With the new navigation suite, they can land in weather conditions that would have grounded the fleet a decade ago. The system works because the ecosystem is mature. The Royal Australian Air Force knows how to fix it. The supply chains are bulletproof. The US Air Force operates hundreds of them, guaranteeing parts availability for decades. This reliability is seductive. It creates a sense of safety, and that safety is exactly where the trap lies. Here is where the logic stops making sense. This massive investment, Project Air 5440, was designed to keep the fleet relevant. But relevant for how long? While these upgrades were being installed, the Australian government committed to Project Air 7404. That is the project to replace these very same aircraft. And what did they choose as the replacement? 20 new C-130Js. The Royal Australian Air Force bypassed a competitive tender process. They did not conduct a fly-off against modern competitors like the Embraer C-390 Millennium. Think about the timeline. Taxpayers paid to upgrade the avionics of the current fleet because the decision to buy the new fleet was delayed. And because the decision was delayed, the safe choice was to buy the same aircraft again to minimize transition risk. The result? A massive expenditure to upgrade 12 planes that are nearing the end of their service life simply to bridge the gap to a new fleet that offers zero improvement in speed, range, or payload over the planes they are replacing. It is a procurement loop that prioritizes administrative ease over operational gain. Why does a rational institution make this choice? According to analysis from the Australian National Audit Office, ANAO, and Defence Strategy Reviews, sole source procurement is often justified by speed. The argument is, if we don't hold a competition, we get the planes faster. But the reality of the C-130J Block 8.1 saga proves the opposite. Because the Royal Australian Air Force was locked into a single ecosystem, they were forced to spend millions upgrading old airframes to wait for the production slots of the new ones. Furthermore, this reveals a flaw in how capability is defined. The military defines capability by interoperability. Can we talk to the Americans? Block 8.1 solves that.
But in the Pacific theater, capability is physics. It is distance over time. A C-130J cruises at roughly 350 knots. A modern jet transport cruises at 470 knots. Over a 2,000-mile mission, that speed difference means the jet makes 2 round trips, while the prop makes 1. By choosing the C-130J again without competition, the decision-makers prioritize the health of the institution, avoiding new training, new manuals, new simulators, over the effectiveness of the force. They chose a slower logistical heartbeat for the next 30 years to save paperwork today.
This isn't a hypothetical problem. Other nations looked at the same data and came to a very different conclusion. The Netherlands, a longtime C-130 operator, realized their fleet was aging. They needed to replace it. They looked at the C-130J, they looked at the requirements. They chose the C-390 Millennium. Why? Because the Dutch Ministry of Defense stated clearly the C-130J could not meet the availability and payload requirements. They needed fewer planes to do more work. Austria followed suit. South Korea followed suit. These nations realized that sticking to the legacy platform was actually the riskier operational choice. Australia stands almost alone among mid-sized powers in doubling down on the turboprop platform for this specific role, ignoring the market shift toward jet propulsion in tactical airlift. The declaration of final operational capability for Block 8.1 is a moment of pride for the engineers. They did their job. The aircraft is safer today than it was yesterday. But strictly speaking, this isn't a leap forward. It's a very expensive insurance policy against change. By refusing to test the market, the Royal Australian Air Force has ensured that for the next 30 years, Australian logistics will move at the speed of a propeller, while the rest of the world moves at the speed of a jet. We are paying a premium for 1999's safety, hoping it survives 2030's reality. The C-130 is legendary, but nostalgia doesn't shorten supply lines. If you prefer this kind of analysis, where we look at the decision behind the machine rather than just reading spec sheets, then you're in the right place. Subscribe so we can keep tracking these procurement failures together. I'm curious to see your arguments in the comments. Is reliability worth the lack of speed? I'll see you down there.